think guys can fit pretty easily here, pretty quickly. But there's always that, especially depending where they're coming from. If they come from a place where they feel like they're just a number, right, then sometimes that's hard to shake.
Mike, I asked you this the other day about 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚 𝙎𝙥𝙤. But how do you guys replace Jackson Jeffcoat?
Same answer. You know?
With an old lineman?
Yeah, with an old lineman. That was good. Easier.
Sorry.
I was going to say something else, but I can't do it. Yeah, neither of those guys. It's not easy. Jackson had that innate ability to make really big plays, you know, when they mattered most. And he was just so stout in all areas, right? I often said that, and not just because of his dad, but, you know, he was born to rush the passer, right? Like, that's just what he did. And he's always very, very productive for us, so it's difficult. That's one of those things that everybody's been scouring for. But I think it's every football league, everybody's looking for defensive ends, right, and offensive tackles. Those are the two positions that they're foundational pieces, right?
With Jackson no longer being here, how could that maybe affect how teams go up against Willie? I mean, obviously he's always been a focal point on, you know, double teams and whatever, but could that change even more so, putting more of an emphasis on stopping Willie when there isn't a Jackson on
the
other
might,
end?
But Willie's really, really good. So you could spend a lot of energy doing that and a lot of personnel and a lot of capital, you know, on Willie, and then other guys are going to step up and shine. I mean, that's the whole point, is we're going to find guys that are going to step into that other defensive end spot, and they're going to be able to help us win football games. I mean, it's our job to, you know, the scouting department brings a bunch of guys in, and we evaluate and try and put guys in the best positions, and JY is going to make sure that schematically guys are in positions to produce and be successful, and we're very confident that everything's going to work out. But I think that's a decision that every offensive coordinator makes every week, is where do you spend extra capital, you know, like where do you want the extra blockers, how much time do you spend on these things, you know, how do you game plan a guy like Willie? People have been trying to for a long time, and he still seems to make a heck of a lot of plays.
Couple. 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚 𝙎𝙤, he got here pretty late in camp last year. You could say the deck was stacked against him, but he made a strong impression, made the team and whatnot. What is it about 𝘽𝙤𝙤 that really kind of impressed you guys, despite only seeing him in pretty limited action in camp last year?
Well, he certainly is a worker, you know. I know he can get it done. He stepped on the field and made plays right away. Like, I don't know what his numbers were, but I think he had a sack in the first 3 games he played, maybe, if I recall correctly. But he certainly made an impression that he was going to make plays, and part of it was just him trying to figure out the kind of shape he needed to be in to play this game. But he's got a good work ethic. He's got a good motor. He refuses to be tired, which at that spot is pretty important. And then coming in that whatever time he came in at, I think he made a pretty immediate impression on the type of guy he was, like his character, right? Like he fit right away. I enjoy seeing him every day. Like, when I get a chance to pass him in the hallway, I know I feel good, right? So that says something too, right? He's gonna work hard to fit, and I think he's got the ability to fit in with every group he sort of walks by on a daily basis, which is pretty cool. But he's productive, and he looks really good this year, as every second-year guy does. They come in with just not comfort is in terms of they're going to take it easy, you know, that they feel secure in their job, but just comfort in terms of what they're being asked to do and how to do it and how to navigate the day and how to navigate training camp. And yeah, he looks really good out there.
At the other end of that first-year guy, you got Chauncey Rivers coming in here trying to learn it all now. First impressions?
Yeah, I think from 1 or 2 days, I think he's trying to pick everything up very, very quickly, right? just watching him run after practice, knowing that he's got there's a certain weight you come in at, and there's CFL weight, right? Like, how are you going to be able to rush the passer, or how are you going to do that over and over and over again with this time clock, with this field space, with this many passes in a game, right? So, I think he's heeding the advice very quickly, which is good.
You're saying that in an NFL camp, as an undrafted guy, you feel like just a body until you prove that you can make some plays. You feel almost like a no-name body, right? Is that different for them here, you think, when they come here?
I would think not. I think you have to have a certain type of openness to come in here and just fit right in immediately, right? I think there's always some ego that makes you guard yourself a little bit. But I think it dissipates pretty quickly with this group. I think guys can fit pretty easily here, pretty quickly. But there's always that, especially depending where they're coming from. If they come from a place where they feel like they're just a number, right, then sometimes that's hard to shake. But hopefully it doesn't feel like that for long.
I talked to Mike Benson because it's his birthday today, and I like talking to guys on their birthday. What's Mike Benson to your team?
Yeah, I mean, veteran calmness, right? That position, nobody ever talks about you unless something's going wrong, and there's always a lot of pressure, and he just seems to do it right all the time, right? His consistency certainly helps, and his calmness helps. He's a very even-keeled guy, so veteran guy who's seen it all.
He's been around a long time. He's been with a lot of teams. I'm used to maybe at the NFL where if they have a snapper, they don't let him go. What attracted you to him when it came he was free?
Yeah, he can do it, and he wanted to do it, and he wanted to do it here. So, I mean, local guy, right? Helps.
Yeah. I don't know how far you can speak into this, but what does it take for a guy who gets into his later 30s to be able to relate to rookies keep staying 23 and 24 every year? You get older, but they stay the same age.
How do they relate to them?
Yeah.
Well, they've been through everything they've gone through in this setting, right? Not life-wise maybe, but in this setting. So, I mean, they're a great resource. They can see what guys are going through. They can sort of intercept something that's going to happen maybe to a kid and show them the right way or show them how it's going to work, right? But I think the young guys obviously understand that the veteran presence around them have gone through what they're going through.
Mike, I wanted to talk to you about continuity. You have a couple new coordinators this year, but guys that have been here a long time. Maybe you got a couple spots you want to fill in for veterans that are no longer here. But league-wide, there's teams that have seen a lot of change from year to year. How valuable is that continuity, even in your coaching staff with new DC and new special teams coordinator, as well as the guys on the field?
Yeah, obviously we value that as an organization, and that's as a head coach, you have to thank not only the guys above you but everybody around you, right? I mean, I think it's quite evident that we value that. We place that very high in the priority list of keeping as many people as we can. We do it in free agency. We try to sign as many of our guys first. Coaching staff, we try to keep them around as long as we possibly can. And once again, there's a certain amount of sacrifice that people make decisions on. They decide to sacrifice some things in order to stay, because a lot of these guys, players, coaches, whatever, could be doing other things and going to other teams, and they don't. They choose to stay, which is pretty cool. But once again, I think it starts at the top. We make a decision organizationally, and we believe that all the free agency and firings and all those things don't lead to success in the long run, and we stick to that plan, and it's I think we've done okay with it.
Your first preseason game is 7 days after training camp kicks off. Is that an inherent challenge?
No, it's happened before. I don't think there's been tons of training camps where that's gone on. I can't list them all, but I know it's one one of those things. In fact, it might, might be nice, might be good for us, right? You take young guys and you give them 7 days or 6 days, 5 days worth of install that they get to prepare and play with instead of 14 days, so they get to play a little faster and show what they can do, maybe.
Can that 10 in the middle be a nice thing too in
Yep.
analysis?
Yeah, it can be. Yep. Got to use it right.
Sorry, Mike. You guys have some young guards, Tui, Liam, who are probably itching, to have bigger roles and whatnot. But the human side of it, obviously you can't pay everyone, but with Jeff Gray not being able to bring him back, just how tough was that?
Yeah, considering what he meant to the group. I mean, he was the guy that, he was quite a glue guy, right? With the stuff he did with the group, what they relied on him for, besides his play, his high-level play. He was also, just speaking of his play, obviously he was always the first guy down the field, and he had a lot of grit, played with a lot of toughness, didn't take a lot of penalties, as tough as he played, and to the edge that he played with, he didn't take a lot of penalties. But I think more so, of what he did for the group on a weekly basis was pretty cool. I think they'll miss that. They'll have to figure a way to fill that a little bit.
I thought of Willie, how much more of a mentor he is than maybe his first year when he first.
Well, you know what? I think if you go back and listen to what I said then, I said he was jumping right in, mentoring guys right off the bat then, right? Like he sees something that needs to be done, and he's going to do it, right? He's wired that way. Yeah, he's a good leader. He has been since he got here. Sometimes you just don't know it, right? But we witnessed it right off the bat when his first year here. He didn't shy away from helping guys out. He did it his own way, and he's still doing it every single day. You still see him on the jugs with young guys every single day, making guys work and facilitating their growth for sure. Yep.